We offer a variety of leadership activities. We do community service once a month. We provide the professional development program developed by Skills, and I know someone brought the books with them to show you some examples of that. The professional development program is a series of books that individual students work at their own pace. There are career inventories, and they make you dive deeper into your career choice by talking about job shadowing experiences, having speakers come in to your classroom to provide more information, drawing a blank here, resume writing, all these things that can help you prepare to enter the world of work beyond what you're learning in your program area. We also, SkillsUSA is broken into 3 regions across the state. We are a central region school. We have a leadership conference in the fall that our students attend. And what's nice about that is the workshops that the students attend are run by the state officers of SkillsUSA. So it's students in leadership roles helping students go back into their schools and become leaders in their schools too. So it's a little bit about what we do. In regards to students with disabilities, to be honest with you, I don't know all the students that are members, if they are in special ed or not. Occasionally, I have some students when we go to the fall leadership conference, we have a leadership award where students answer questions about SkillsUSA. And one of the things that's the hardest for some of my students is memorizing the pledge for SkillsUSA. It's got some big words in it that aren't used in everyday vocabulary. And I do occasionally have some students who have difficulties memorizing that pledge because it's wordy, it's kind of long. And so I help students, we break it down. And most of them eventually are able to remember the pledge, at least for short term, to recite it. And what's nice is when we go to the conference, there are other advisors, like 2 of us are in special ed. So I might go to Jamie and say, hey, I've got a student here who's really struggling with a disability. Can we help him out? So we'll help the student out. Because we don't want them to be denied receiving that award because they might have issues with memorization. So those are just some examples that we offer our students. I'm going to turn it over to Jamie. She actually has a little packet for you.
So basically, I just try to put some things together just so you could take something with you, and then hopefully we could share some ideas. I'd like to get some ideas too. Being fairly new to this organization, basically when I started at Steel Center, which is 3 years ago, I joined SkillsUSA with other advisors, and we really didn't have a lot of guidelines, so we really kind of fumbled through it the first year. So all of us as advisors, you know, in our school, we have actually 5 advisors. We're trying to put some guidelines together to kind of keep us organized. We kind of learned from the mistakes the first year and are trying to like streamline this a little bit better. I have to say this year, our president is a student with a disability, and he's really taken on this leadership role. Everybody knows who he is in the school. He's on the announcements all the time. The administrators use him. We actually took him to the leadership conference this year. He made a Kahoot for us, and he actually was presenting to everybody there at Seven Springs. So that was pretty cool to see. Like, he's really taken this on. So we're really using him a lot. Like, he's been in assemblies, and he's been putting things together. Sometimes we're having a hard time to even get him to go to class at this point. He's organizing like kind of like team meetings and practice for states. He's so into it. And this is the first year like that I've been there that I could really see the change. We just let the students really run with it. The first year I felt like we tried to take more control just because we weren't sure ourselves, you know, how to kind of organize this. So now I really feel like we do have it like a student-run organization, and the students really take ownership of that. We have a lot of students with special needs, and one thing I do like about Skills is you can differentiate, like just in the classroom. The students can make this what they want. There's social opportunities. You know, so if they just want to join just because they need some social opportunities, they can do that. You know, if they want to do something in the community, they can do that. If they want to take on more of a leadership role and go out and compete in competitions, they have the ability to do that. So that's why I like this organization. Something new, well, like in this packet, this first slide here, the students actually came up with this idea in the summer, even before the beginning of the year here. They wanted to meet, and we were making a monthly calendar, basically. We were trying to make sure each month there was an opportunity for community service, some kind of social opportunity. And not every month we have a fundraiser, but for certain months, like cancer awareness, we kind of wanted to see, you know, for each month what would fit. And then we come up with some ideas, like how to do that. So that's basically what I have here, just some guidelines that we try to do. On page 2, community service. We wanted to work with a food bank, so we found a farm close to us. It's called Common Ground Farm. So students went out, we actually harvested crops, and like all the food went to local families. So that was something that we did. We have a student this year, her mother works for the Audubon Society. It's someplace called Beechwood Farms Nature Reserve. And this is going to be a huge project that's exploding. We're pretty much trying to get this nature reserve on our property at the school. So we're going through all these channels. It's like one of the big push right now for this Audubon Society. So we're going to have our shops involved, like carpentry, might make bird houses, and different things like that. So that's really just in the works right now. So that's something new that we're trying. But we've gone out to the farm, and we actually, like at this nature reserve, and planted plants, walked around, and you know, our students got to learn about the different birds and everything as well. So that was pretty cool. We've done things like just cleaning up our school. We have days for community service. We try to do that. And we actually have our Mon Valley School is a school for students with special needs right below like where we're at. We're very close proximity. So we kind of try to do like a peer buddy scenario where some of our kids, one with special needs, is really spearheading this. We went down to read to the students. We've done different activities like arts and crafts. We actually sang Christmas carols, but this kid loves it. So he's like in charge, you know, so he's making up fun activities. He even wanted to take a karaoke machine down there, portable karaoke machine. So it really took off, and it really gives him a sense of pride. And that's been nice to see. We've done different toy drives, like Toys for Tots. Play It Forward we tried this year. It was like more geared towards our local families. It was a used toy drive. So we tried that. Anybody else for community service? Do you have any ideas, things you've done, or something you'd like to share? I don't want to be like up here just talking all the time.
We do, there are several local food banks in the area, and we go. And the great thing is, you know, a student will go, and sometimes I'm like, are you going just to get out of class? Are you really? But every time, like, we've gone and like cleaned bathrooms and cleaned the floor and stocked shelves, and they're like, when's the next time we're coming back? Because they get so much out of it, and I love to see that. And they're owning that, and it's nice because the place that we go to, they really enjoy having our students come, because they said if we can get them to do community service while they're in school, we're hoping that that's going to carry over then as adults, that they will continue to give to their community. And we found that it does. The students, some of our students do continue after they graduate.
Well, first, that makes us different than some of other schools run SkillsUSA. We run individual chapters where I'm pretty sure you have.
Yeah, we're a school.
They're one big chapter and their advisors oversee it. I have 18 different instructors running individual SkillsUSA chapters within the chapter. And so things kind of change because of that. So there are community service projects going on in those individual chapters, which could be all over the place. Like my students, we sacrifice our day before Christmas. Instead of them having a social event at school, we go to Ronald McDonald House. And we kind of are the Danville Ronald McDonald House's last hurrah. We get all the gifts finalized and get them ready for the rooms. And so it's kind of been great because the kids have had to give up something fun for themselves to make it fun for someone else. But we would have all kinds of activities from our carpentry and our advertising arts students doing projects for events in the community, like Chris Crindle and Mifflinburg and things of that nature. So ours is run a little differently rather than one big club. We almost have all these little clubs running within. And then what I would do is I'm the person who kind of just coordinates when we have to work together as a unit. So it's a little bit different. And some people don't realize that you can run SkillsUSA both directions. We are a one-year school, so for us, it's a way for us to gear it more towards their specific trade area and make SkillsUSA activities all about what's happening in the classroom that 1 year. Whether it's speakers coming in, field trips, it's all to be done really in the name of their SkillsUSA chapter of their individual classroom organization. So again, I'm not sure how many of you run it, if you've ever heard that it was run that way or if you've ever done it that way, but you can do it that way.
Yeah, we're a half-day program, so we have an AM group and a PM group. So we have AM officers and PM officers, and occasionally, like at a leadership conference or a competition, the AM and PM come together. So that's how ours is run.
How many years are your kids at?
3.
3 years.
Yes.
Next thing, I just have social events. Just coming up with ideas for that. I have them listed here, so I won't read like all of them. And we've done things from like having a DJ and karaoke. Some people like to sing. In fact, they're in town. We've done things, trips to Seven Springs. They like snow tubing. They have snow tubing in the winter, and they have summer tubing as well. So we've done that at the end of the year. Seven Springs actually was pretty nice about it. They let us have the whole mountain. And basically, kids could ride the Alpine slide if you've ever been there. There's canoes and kayaks and your bikes, which is kind of like a bicycle on the water. Students got to do that, bowl. It was a lot of fun. So it was just like a day of kind of relaxing, and the students could kind of tweak that how they wanted it. Some kids just liked to bowl and they didn't want to be outside. They were able to do that. Other kids kind of ran all over the mountain, which was a lot of fun. And we always try to come up with new ideas. We're actually at a school board meeting last week in our school that's right beside us, Mon Valley. They have a swimming pool, so we came up with this idea that possibly maybe we could try to have a pool party at the end of the year this year and kind of work out some kind of peer buddy thing with that as well. I mean, you can kind of look at this. Anybody else have any ideas that were like fun, successful social events? We try to have dances, and sometimes the kids said they were lame, you know, but anybody has any? Yeah.
Our we have 3 campuses, and they pulled together to do something at Sky Zone where they have the things where you jump, and it was just Friday, and it looked like it was a great amount of fun.
I heard that was a great part. We have some students, they want to do that, so we're actually going to try to do that, so I'm excited to see how that's going to turn out.
When you had your dance, what was lame about it, according to the students? Because we're going to try that on April 8th, and I'm really nervous.
Well, we had our president was actually the DJ, and I think it was the choice of maybe some of the music, and then he had a limited karaoke list. So there was only so many songs you could sing.
And was your dance a dance, or was it a dance karaoke?
It was like, there would be a little bit of karaoke, they would take a break, have a dance, they'd play music. We've done it a couple different ways. We had one after school last year, so it was like a dance at night. And we thought we'd have a bigger turnout, and all these people said they were coming, and then there really wasn't that many. The students kind of really advocated to have that, and then a lot of them didn't show up. So I felt that one was like kind of a flop. But during the school day, I mean, it was pretty festive. I mean, we had food, pizza, kind of like a potluck. We had our food service guy make pizza for this, for the students, and then some staff brought in drinks and things like that. But I guess they wanted more activity. I was trying to actually look at, kind of got shot down for this one, but there was a bull riding thing that you can get. You can ride the bull in the sumo suits. It wasn't that expensive if you Google it. I mean, for the sumo wrestling, and we thought about trying to make a fundraiser with that, like one of the different rounds. Maybe for $1, you get to wrestle this person in a sumo suit, and then maybe work your way up, and maybe, if you try 3 rounds, it might be $3. So we were trying to come up with ideas how to make that better. We had some games like cornhole and things like that set up, but I don't know, the students just seemed like some really got into it, And then some just sat in the corner and they wanted to socialize. But still, I mean, it really wasn't like, that's a bad thing either. So they were still able to socialize, but I don't know, I think the DJ was good. Maybe we could have shortened it a little bit. Like, we have half-day sessions.
Right.
So maybe if we just had like an hour and a half, maybe it would have kept them more engaged. Actually, sure, but we tried the DJ and karaoke thing. Some really liked to sing, and then some just sat in the corner, kind of like a middle school dance. Girls on this side, boys on this. But I mean, I guess if you came up with some games, even things like we've seen like pie in the face, you know, something like that. If you can get your administration on board, I think that'd be kind of like a fun idea. And I tried getting that past ours, and they weren't really, you know, too into that. So.
Yeah, some of the, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
We have a spring fling and a fall fest at our school, and it's run by the Skills School. We're a comprehensive school, so we have these kids all day. So we'll run a different schedule and have this in the afternoon. So we'll do it twice a year. And all the shops, not all the shops, the shops can volunteer to have a table. They may make like walking tacos, and they'll actually fundraise them for their shop. And then another group will do, I don't remember what else we have. Pizza, hot dog, sauerkraut, things like that, and then, yeah, we got paid the principal to the wall. Yeah,
Volleyball tournament.
yeah, just different activities like that, and it's like 2 hours in an afternoon.
It's like the end of Greece.
Okay.
And then the computer information technology kids set up like all the games, and so the kids in the library can play, all their, they can do, the gamers can all get together and do their thing. Cosmetology, they did something fun where they had a fish, like the duck pond thing, and then.
Oh, yeah, that's a nice
Yeah,
idea.
and then you could win manicures.
Oh, that's really
and
nice idea.
different things, hair colors and things like that. So it's really fun, and the shops make money on it. And then the different clubs throughout the school, like Relay to Life, do something, and then the different clubs will also.
That's a nice idea.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We have a couple events that, we have 6 student organizations in our building, and there are some times when we all get together and do, our school in the spring has been doing a safety day that our criminal justice program puts together. We have law enforcement, we had a Lifeline helicopter last year, fire departments, ambulances, and then demonstrations with like the dogs and everything. Then the clubs also did some games, provided food, things like that. So that's one of our events that we did. We also used to have a end of the year picnic for just all the clubs. So and we would do like themes. Like one year we would do carnival games, and another one we actually did do like the sumo suits and the bull ride. We had to have the kids sign waivers and stuff, but that was really fun too. So it's also in our school. Anyone can join SkillsUSA, and then you've got HOSA and FFA where they're more concentrated in a certain program area. And so in the past few years, we've had students who have been members of more than one club. And so I have students who are in HOSA and in SkillsUSA, and so we kind of interact that way too, that the students will have an idea for one and carry it over into another, and we work together on ideas too.
Let me get back to you with the dance, what she said, the idea with it, like a game room, actual like video games, I think would make a difference. Because we had more like physical kind of games. But we thought about that too, so I like that. I think that might help with dance. And there was another thing I looked into, but you can do it on your own if you have like an advertising and design class. There's students saying karaoke that you can actually pay $1. We're thinking about a fundraiser where they can actually have a video, so they can get their video of their performance. So we thought that would be maybe a way to, I don't know, kind of ramp that up a little bit. Everybody leaves with a video of their hopefully good performance there. We thought about that. Any further?
You guys got it covered, don't you?
What have you seen as the benefits? Your focus, I know, is a little more in the competitive, the district and state competitions and national. What have you seen over the years as the benefits for the kids doing that?
The competitive parts of it? Well, I think the first thing, I mean, I'm thinking this morning more on the special needs side of this, maybe I shouldn't be, and you're just presenting it widespread. I think the one thing I would tell people is never underestimate what your special needs students can do. I think that sometimes we're the ones who pigeonhole them thinking that they can't achieve. And what these ladies said is so true, and which is why I've been an advisor as long as I have, is that this organization has something for everyone, and everyone can be successful in it. If you're looking at this professional development program, which I have a series of new books up here if you're not familiar with it, you could have a student that you really want to just build some confidence in, and they could do either the discovery degree, which is very simple activities, to the trainee degree, and they can get a certificate and they can get a pin, wear it proudly. So I think for this group of people, if you are working with special needs students, it could be the beginning for you to get them interested. I guess, or my experience, I'm saying ours because Dirk and Wendy are from my school, and we have actually won action skill at nationals the last 3 years. We've won gold medals, which is kind of unheard of to win back-to-back consistently. And we've run the gambit. 3 years ago, we had a girl from my own class really not needing a lot of assistance in the classroom, had some problems though when it came to if we wanted to change anything, that became an issue for her. She could go on meltdown mode, so we had to make sure she was ready for all the possibilities. But quite honestly, 2 years ago, and some of you who go to state contests probably saw our little Audrey, she's a Down syndrome girl. And I have taken a girl with Tourette's, Down syndrome, and
Apert syndrome.
Apert syndrome. So, and they all three won gold medals at nationals, one many years ago. And so I want you to understand that don't rule those kids out of these competitive events, because I actually saw a kid one year where I had a student in, and it was a post-secondary student, but he was deaf. And he actually signed his whole demonstration and won the gold medal with his interpreter. So you might think, oh, well, that can't happen in a speaking contest, but that is why SkillsUSA is so wonderful, because they have adapted that to meet the needs of those individual students where success is possible for them. So that's one of the main things I wanted to make sure people know today.
Can I tag on that? And it's just because the last 3 students that she's talking about, 3 years ago, it was a girl that anybody would have thought, oh, she has a chance. You would have seen her. You don't necessarily know that she's got an IEP, looking or talking to her, interacting with her. The last 2, it was hit or miss, honestly. I mean, you prep her and you'd be like, oh, I don't know. It depends who she's competing against. And last year's students the same way. And these kids, like, especially for the last 2, these weren't kids that were ever going to get an award at their home school. They weren't setting the world on fire by any means. But they left with a new sense of self-esteem that, like, I mean, we had them presented at our board meetings, at our advisory committee meeting, and it brought tears to people's eyes to see that pride. So, a lot of times you look at your star students, your excellent mason, your excellent carpentry student, and send them on to compete. But don't forget those other kids that maybe aren't setting the world on fire in their program, but have some hidden talents and skills, and they can go somewhere with that. Because it really is, it takes a really good skills instructor that knows what they're doing to prep the kid, and the kid's hard work, and it was unbelievable. I think Dirk and I both were just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they came back with goals. Like, it's just amazing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If the student is willing to put in that time to prepare, that makes all the difference. And I don't know how familiar you are with the different competitions, but SkillsUSA does have some competitions that are just for students with an IEP. That they have to actually show up to the competition with a letter from their school stating that, yes, the student has an IEP.
Are you all familiar with the 2 contests primarily for leadership, or not so much? Action skill and employment application process. I did bring guidelines today I have not done employment application process too often, but action skill I've done for many years, as I said, and of course that's where my heart is always in the job skill. I'm saddened to say we don't have anybody, we didn't even have anyone in districts this year, so I'm going through withdrawal. Yeah, I just think it's important to not, because I know myself, I've been a little, and when I first started looking at some of these kids with really obvious disabilities, thinking, is this worth our time? Is this going to be something that they can go up against a kid with an IEP that really has very, limited problems? They're pretty high functioning. You don't know the difference between them and some of your other students. But again, I really am here today to tell you that I think that you shouldn't ever make that a reason why you don't encourage them to go forward. Yeah, sorry.
I run the Action Skills competition at Medicaid, and I've been doing this for 7, 8 years now, I guess. I'm on maybe even longer than that, probably since I first started working there. And it is absolutely amazing to gather with a group of students and get together, learning sport teachers, and kind of identify like who might be good kids to do this. And then I'll spend, a few months working with these kids. And it doesn't matter if they win. They come out with these mad skills when they're done, of just having that confidence. And I did this. I learned, how to present. I learned to pick apart this skill. I figured this out. And it doesn't matter. It's just seeing how good they feel about themselves when all is said and done is so worth every ounce of my prep time that I use to get these kids ready. It's worth every bit of the effort because it's just, they're so excited because no one ever thought they were going to be anything.
It's definitely more about the journey than the destination. It definitely is. And, like I said, I've been doing this a long time, and I've been blessed to have quite a few medal winners in different things, not just this, but I don't know that there was anything more rewarding than when Audrey with Down syndrome won at districts. She was just so, and the other kids at districts were so overwhelmingly kind to her, coming up to her and high-fiving her, and that's what made it special more than anything. Now, the only thing is we have created monsters sometimes, and then they're like, Ms. Gutch, I'm going to nationals and winning the gold. I'm thinking, oh gosh,
You're still wearing that medal.
I'm like, that's good to have that, but it's okay if you're not. Then you're kind of like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen if it doesn't go the way they see it now? But I have to tell you, it was probably one of the highlights of all the years I've been an advisor for both of them, really. And Jacob last year, he was a late recruit because I had a girl in my own class who was going to do it and kind of lost enthusiasm. And I talked to Dirk and he's there, well, I got someone for you now. You have to know Jacob because Jacob's a mover and a shaker. And I'm like, let's do it. Let's see what we can pull together. And ironically, and the other thing I'd say too is, and this was on Dirk's part more than mine on this one, I said, we got to think of something, because he had webbed hands, and so he had limited mobility with his hands. It ended up that he said, because he knew the student, he said, Crystal, he loves toasted cheese sandwiches. I said, okay, that's what we're doing. We're going to make a toasted cheese sandwich. That's what he wanted. Making a toasted cheese sandwich. Don't think that these skills have to be over the top. They just have to be done well, all right? They just have to have some order to the way they're presented. He was a food service student, obviously, but he, and even his cutting ability, we had him cutting a piece of bread, and we had to adapt some things there for him as well because of the time frame that you have to work in. But I guess I'm just hoping today I can let you see that, they don't have to, in a demonstration, put together a car engine, and probably shouldn't even think those ways. You want to keep it simple, and that's where the success then comes from. So.
Yeah, we just finished hosting districts for our district the last 2 years, and especially this year, the two judges that we had for action skills, afterwards they said it was tough declaring who the winner was because there was a very good group of presentations this year. And, you know, they said they could have easily been in some of the other competitions and would have, you know, been in the running for a medal in those competitions.
I think you'll find that at nationals too. I mean, it's different every year, but there have been times at nationals when I've had kids in job skill A or job skill O, I'm telling you, the action skill kids were better. They were literally better. So you don't go out there thinking, oh, well, it's, you know, kids with IEPs, you know, and whatever, and sometimes they knock your socks off as far as not just at our district levels. And our state contest is run very well. I want to include that. Roberta and her husband run those contests very much like nationals. So, you know, if you get aggravated at anything there, just know they're doing the right thing because they have it also down to an art. And I'll shut up, but just a couple things, you know, make sure you do timing, make sure you know the times. That's where you can see a kid doing a great speech and they went over or under and you feel your heart breaks for them because they probably could have placed or won. So make sure their timings are okay. Computers, I like to stay away from them because I've seen too many kids, they go in there, they can't get their equipment to work, and that's included in their setup time, and that's also heartbreaking. They can't use any kind of flammable gas. We've had that happen where they come in and they want to do that, and they have to stop them for safety reasons. So it's really sad when someone at their state or district level has not, they somehow got through that first level without realizing that. So I would just remind everybody of that too. And I would say our state's a little more consistent at nationals. What's happened at nationals, the room situation, for some reason, which is really sad to me, and in fact I was going to write a letter. Last year at nationals, they had action skill where the kids had to walk up steps. It was in like the booth at the where they play the basketball and so forth, you know, the VIP room, and it's like there were kids in wheelchairs. It's like, what are you people thinking? So, you know, you really have to prepare that student that anything could happen. You know, try to get them calm about that because I'm sure, as you all well know, you can have a great kid, but when something out of the ordinary happens, that's the end, it's over. So I know I've worked really hard in saying now when we get there, because Jacob must have said to us probably 100 times, well, it states, Jacob, we know, but it's not states. You just got to listen to us here. This is what we got to do here because it's different here. So, you know, that would be something that I would probably also say. And the other thing too, when we were practicing, we bring audiences in and they clap. And so when they go to competition and they don't clap, they think they did something wrong. So, you know, be real careful about that too, because it's like, I don't think I did well. I think Audrey even cried one time, and I'm like, why? And she said, they didn't clap or anything. I said, honey, they don't clap every time. That's just people at our school, we clap. So those are just some of my experiences that I thought might be useful to someone.
We've had some good experiences too, and I think it's all about knowing the competitions, getting the teacher to buy in. I know over the last couple of years, our meat cutting teacher was he played such a great role, and he was so into this. And like you said, students would demonstrate things for a group of people. He set this up so they built the confidence. The last 3 years, we sent students for action skills, and they placed as well. They placed, like at districts, we had a couple first place winners that moved on to states, and they got like third in the state. We have a kid, which is really nice to see the teacher really invested in him. He was kind of known for having a special needs student who had some behaviors, you know, some behavior issues last year, fights and everything else. Well, this totally turned him around. This year, I'm bringing him out with me to different schools to present about our meat cutting program. But now he's like this model student that just gained his confidence, and I mean, he looks like a professional. You know, it's just so nice to see the progression, you know, like his maturity, how it's changed from last year to this year, even from the beginning of this year till now. He is so excited about going to states that he really feels like he's going to nationals. But just to see that confidence that he has, you know, so I bring him out with me like he's my assistant when we go to schools. Ruth and I go present, and as we talked yesterday a little bit about that. but we're actually bringing him in, which is nice practice even for the competition with the public speaking. But our teacher really invested in that and really understands the contest and understands what it takes. So, and sometimes I see that's, you know, it can go either way. We have some teachers that don't know anything about it, and those kids half the time don't even show up to get on the bus to go. So that makes such a huge difference, I found.
Yeah.
What are some of the barriers? I kind of know some of ours, but some of the barriers that you've either experienced within your school or with the kids and the parents? And how, I'm just curious. I know what some of ours are at my school, but what kind of things do you experience?
Like Jamie just said, not all of our instructors are totally on board. I know when we, you know, just to talk about hosting districts, you were really twisting some people's arms. It's like, you have to do this, you know, our school is hosting, you know, but then you get the teachers that are 180, they're like, you mean I can only send one kid to compete? Or, you know, hey, I got a great candidate to be an officer or to go to leadership. And in those programs where the teachers are involved, I think you have, at least in our school, you have more participation from the students, and they're more active. I haven't really had any real negative problems with parents. You know, anytime a student wants to be involved in something, I have, you know, paperwork explaining what it is, what's required, and basically parents just get in contact with me for clarification or some other minor things.
How do you work for funding? Does your school pay for?
No, we're totally self-sufficient.
So you do fundraising?
Yes, we do fundraising. We were hit this year with our schools enforcing the dietary guidelines, so our kids have to sell their items outside of school, but one of our big ones is the Country Meats fundraiser. I don't know if you're all familiar with Country Meats. They're located in Florida. They only deal with fundraising, so like I can't just go on as myself and order their meat sticks by myself. We have this year, every other year we sponsor a t-shirt design contest where anyone in the school can actually design a shirt for our school. It has to incorporate all of our programs. And we then, once the winning design is chosen, we sell t-shirts and sweatshirts with that, and that helps. We do candy bar, you know, we try different things. And with the clubs, we're all pretty active with fundraising, so we try not to step on each other's toes. So we'll talk to each other. It's like, hey, is anyone doing this? Do you mind if I do this fundraiser? But yeah, most of our things have to be done outside of school now, which kind of hurt, but we're getting by.
I'd say for us, some of the barriers, as far as competitions go, like we have students come in the AM and the PM. They want to get together and be able to practice. You know, sometimes that's a barrier to try to set up times for that. And also the kids are so into practicing for their competitions. Some of them are starting to kind of like, they have this entitlement now, you know, they have this big head where they're skipping class. We've had that, and so now we really have to watch. I mean, it's a great thing that they're empowered, but, you know, sometimes we tell them to go back to class, we find the teacher saying, you know, where is this student at, you know? They're really into it, but sometimes that has been a barrier where, you know, dividing the class time with practice time, you know, for their competitions.
And you also have to raise money for your skills competitors?
Yeah, well, you know what, our director pays for them to go to states and to go to leadership. He doesn't feel.
To nationals as well, or?
We haven't gone to nationals, so I don't know about that, what would happen there.
I'm trying to find out, you know?
I'm not really sure, but I mean, he did that, but now like this year, I mean, we really cut back where students had to do more fundraising. We've tried, the candy bar thing was a nightmare, basically. We tried that, and we're like, we don't want to do this again, let's think of something else. We sold hoagies. We did something called Boo Grams. It was one of the students' ideas. We made like we had lollipops and made ghosts out of them, and then students can write their message on it, some kind of message to be delivered to somebody they wanted to. So little things like that were actually easier, but sometimes the students would kind of drop the ball on making a ghost, and I stayed after for hours making ghosts one night. You know, it was like that kind of thing. But we were looking for different ideas for fundraisers. We did, it was like a Beat Cancer Month. We had a van, so they had our collision repair teacher paint this van, and then people got to smash the van for like a certain amount of money. You know, they get like $1 for a swing, or like each swing could be $1, like 5 swings for $3. You know, so we tried doing different things like that to come up with different fundraising ideas, so we didn't have to like pass out goods and all that. Is that it? Cut?
We need to cut it short. Pedro Rivera's here.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, thanks for your attention, and thanks for participating.